What the hell are you doing with my son's things? Alexander Harrington's voice thundered through the Malibu mansion, his eyes blazing as he caught Lena Thompson slipping a tracker into his son Ethan's backpack. In that moment, suspicion ignited, a billionaire's paranoia clashing with a maid's quiet resolve. Beneath the glittering facade of wealth, secrets simmered, a past betrayal, a shadowy threat, and a woman determined to protect a child not her own. As Alexander's distrust battled Lena's courage, a chilling truth emerged. Someone was watching, waiting to strike. This is a tale of shattered prejudice, fragile trust, and a fight to save a boy who bound them together, proving that family is forged in the fires of loyalty and sacrifice. The glass walls of the Malibu mansion caught the last rays of the Pacific sunset, glinting like a fortress of secrets. Inside, silence reigned, broken only by the faint hum of a security system. Alexander Harrington's footsteps echoed as he entered, his Italian loafers clicking against marble. At 45, the tech billionaire carried the weight of wealth and loss, his chiseled face taut, eyes shadowed from a New York red-eye. He tossed his briefcase onto a sleek console, already dialing his boardroom. "Push the merger vote to Monday," he snapped into his earpiece, voice clipped. "I'm home." Home. The word felt hollow. 3 years since his wife's car plunged off a cliff, the mansion was more mausoleum than sanctuary. His son Ethan was upstairs, likely lost in his toys. Alexander's chest tightened at the thought, but work always came first. He'd check on the boy later. A faint clink from above stopped him mid-step. His earpiece went silent. The sound came again, metal, deliberate, from Ethan's room. Alexander's pulse quickened. He shed his coat, moving stealthily up the curved staircase, his hand grazing the cold steel of the banister. The hallway was dim, Ethan's door ajar. A whisper drifted out, soft but urgent. "This'll keep you safe, little man." Alexander's blood surged. He peered through the crack. Lena Thompson, the maid, knelt by Ethan's bed, her dark curls tied back, her uniform crisp despite the late hour. In her hand was a small black device, no bigger than a coin. She pressed it into the lining of Ethan's backpack, her fingers trembling. Ethan, 10 and wide-eyed, grinned. "Is it a superhero tracker, Lena?" "Something like that," she murmured, her voice warm but strained. She didn't see Alexander. Rage exploded in his chest. He shoved the door open, its hinges groaning. "What the hell are you doing?" His voice boomed, raw with betrayal. Lena flinched, the device slipping from her hand. It clattered to the floor. A GPS tracker, cheap but functional. Alexander snatched it, turning it over like evidence. "You're spying on my son?" Lena stood, her brown eyes wide, hands raised as if to ward off a blow. "Mr. Harrington, please, I can explain." "Explain?" He stepped closer, towering over her. "You sneak into my house, touch my son's things, and plant this?" He held the tracker up, its red light blinking like an accusation. "Who sent you? Who's paying you?" Ethan scrambled from his bed, clutching a toy robot. "Dad, stop! Lena's nice!" His voice cracked, eyes glistening. Alexander ignored him, his gaze locked on Lena. She was 32, hired 6 months ago, quiet, efficient, black. He'd never trusted her fully, not with those sharp eyes that seemed to see too much. A maid, nothing more. Or so he'd thought. "It's for his safety," Lena said, her voice steady despite the fear in her posture. "You don't understand." "Safety?" Alexander laughed, bitter. "You think I'm that gullible? People like you—" He stopped, the words sour on his tongue. Her jaw tightened, a flicker of pain crossing her face. She knew what he meant. Black, poor, beneath him. "Dad, please!" Ethan tugged his sleeve, tears spilling. "Don't yell at her!" Alexander's hand shook, the tracker heavy in his palm. He'd been burned before. Partners, rivals, even friends. Trust was a luxury he couldn't afford. "Get security!" He barked into his phone, eyes never leaving Lena. "Now!" 2 guards appeared, their faces blank. Lena's shoulders sagged, but she didn't beg. "You're making a mistake," she said softly, her gaze meeting his. "This isn't what you think." "Take her downstairs," Alexander ordered. "No calls, no contact." The guards flanked her, leading her out. Ethan sobbed, rushing to follow, but Alexander caught his arm. "Stay here, Ethan. It's not safe." "She's my friend," Ethan wailed, pulling free. "You're mean." The words stung, sharper than Alexander expected. He stood frozen as Ethan's cries echoed down the hall. The tracker burned in his hand, its purpose a riddle. Why would a maid risk everything for this? He glanced at Ethan's backpack, its blue fabric innocent under the lamplight. Something wasn't right. His phone buzzed. A security alert from the front gate. A shadow had tripped a sensor. Alexander's gut twisted. He pocketed the tracker, his mind racing. Lena's words lingered. For his safety. What did she know that he didn't? He stepped into the hallway, the mansion's silence heavier now, like a held breath. Downstairs, Lena waited, her fate in his hands. But the real threat, he sensed, was still out there watching. The Malibu mansion's lower floor was a labyrinth of glass and shadow, its grandeur suffocating under the weight of suspicion. Alexander Harrington stood in the dimly lit study, the tracker clutched in his fist like a grenade. Its red light pulsed, mocking his ignorance. Across the room, Lena Thompson sat on a leather chair, flanked by two security guards. Her hands were folded tightly in her lap, her face composed despite the storm brewing around her. Alexander's pulse hammered. He wanted answers now. "Who are you working for?" His voice sliced through the silence, low and dangerous. He stepped closer, looming over her. "Don't lie. I've dealt with spies before." Lena's eyes met his, unflinching. "I'm no spy, Mr. Harrington. I'm a maid, and I'm trying to protect your son." "Protect?" he scoffed, holding up the tracker. "By planting this on a 10-year-old? You expect me to believe that?" Her lips pressed thin, a flicker of frustration breaking her calm. "I don't expect you to believe anything. You've already made up your mind about me." The jab landed harder than he cared to admit. Alexander's jaw clenched. He'd hired her 6 months ago. References checked, background clean. But she was black, a former nurse turned maid, and he'd never shaken the instinct to keep her at arm's length. Now that instinct screamed betrayal. "Dad!" Ethan's voice broke through, shrill and desperate. The boy burst into the room, his sneakers squeaking on the polished floor. Tears streaked his face. "Stop it! Lena's not bad. She reads me stories. She's like Mom." The mention of his late wife was a knife to Alexander's chest. He turned, his voice sharp. "Ethan, go to your room. This isn't your business." "No!" Ethan stomped, clutching his robot toy like a shield. "You're wrong. She's my friend." Lena's gaze softened, but she stayed silent, her hands still clasped. Alexander's head throbbed. He waved a guard over. "Take him upstairs. Now!" Ethan wailed as he was led away, his cries echoing down the hall. The sound gnawed at Alexander, stirring guilt he couldn't afford to feel. He turned back to Lena, his patience fraying. "Start talking. Why the tracker? Who's behind it?" She exhaled, her voice steady but laced with exhaustion. "I saw someone watching Ethan. Last week, outside his school. A man in a gray hoodie taking pictures. I didn't tell you because..." She hesitated, her eyes searching his. "Because I didn't think you'd listen to someone like me." "Someone like you?" He leaned in, his tone icy. "What's that supposed to mean?" "You know what it means," she said quietly. "Black. Poor. Just the help. You barely look at me when I'm cleaning your house. Why would you trust me with something this serious?" Her words hit like a slap, exposing a truth he'd rather ignore. He straightened, masking his unease. "Don't play the victim. You planted a device on my son. That's not trust, it's sabotage." Lena shook her head, a bitter smile tugging at her lips. "Sabotage? I'm the one who's been here every night, tucking Ethan in when you're halfway across the world. I'm the one who noticed he's scared to sleep alone since his mom died. I put that tracker there to keep him safe, not to hurt him." Alexander's grip on the tracker tightened. Her words rang with conviction, but he'd been burned before. Partners, rivals, even his wife's accident hadn't been as random as it seemed. Trust was a trap. "You're good," he said, his voice cold, "but I'm not buying it. You've got until morning to come clean, or I'm calling the police." He signaled the guards. "Lock her in the guest room. No phone, no contact." They nodded, guiding Lena to her feet. She didn't resist, but as she passed him, her voice dropped to a whisper. Check your security footage. You'll see I'm not lying. The door closed behind her, leaving Alexander alone in the study. His chest heaved, anger warring with doubt. He glanced at the tracker, its light still blinking. Why risk her job, her freedom for this? He thought of Ethan's tears, his plea. She's like Mom. The boy hadn't spoken of his mother in months. Alexander sank into his chair, the mansion's silence pressing in. He opened his laptop, pulling up the security system. Lena's words echoed, check your footage. He hesitated, then typed in the date from last week. The screen flickered, showing Ethan's school gate. A man in a gray hoodie lingered across the street, his phone raised. Alexander zoomed in, blurry but deliberate. A chill ran down his spine. His phone buzzed, snapping him back. A new email, no sender name. Pay or the boy's next. Attached was a photo of Ethan at the park, taken yesterday. Alexander's blood ran cold. Lena had been there, pushing him on the swings. He stood, the tracker heavy in his hand. The guards waited outside, but his mind was on Lena, locked away. What if she was telling the truth? What if the real threat was closer than he thought? The guest room door clicked shut, sealing Lena Thompson in a prison of plush carpets and ocean views. She sat on the edge of the bed, her hands still trembling from the confrontation. The faint scent of lavender from the linens mocked her racing heart. She'd known the risk of planting the tracker, but Ethan's safety was worth it. Her mind flashed to her past. 5 years ago, a child she'd cared for as a nurse, stolen from a hospital bed. She'd failed then, not this time. Downstairs, Alexander Harrington paced his study, the tracker a cold weight in his pocket. The email's threat looped in his mind. Pay or the boy's next. The photo of Ethan, laughing on a swing, was a gut punch. He'd dismissed Lena's warning, blinded by his own prejudice. Now, doubt gnawed at him. He sank into his chair, the leather creaking under his weight, and opened his laptop again. The security footage from Ethan's school played. The man in the gray hoodie, a silent accusation. Alexander's fingers froze on the keyboard. Lena had been right. He shoved papers aside, searching for his phone, when a folded sheet caught his eye. Tucked beneath a financial report. Plain paper, handwritten, his name in neat, deliberate script. He unfolded it, the faint scent of soap rising. Lena's. His pulse quickened as he read, Mr. Harrington, I know you don't trust me, but Ethan's in danger. I saw a man watching him at school last week. I found an email in your trash. Someone's planning to hurt him. The tracker was to keep him safe, not to spy. Check the attached photo in the email dated 8/3. I'm no traitor. I've lost too much to let a child suffer. Lena attached was a grainy photo, the same man from the footage, hood up, snapping pictures of Ethan. Alexander's breath hitched. He rifled through his desk, finding the email in a discarded pile. Crumpled, but damning. Harrington's boy is the key. 1 million or he's gone. Dated August 3rd, just as she'd said. His hands shook. How had he missed this? He stood, pacing to the window. The Pacific stretched dark and endless, mirroring his unease. Lena had seen what he hadn't. Danger lurking in plain sight. But why not tell him directly? Her words from the confrontation stung. You wouldn't trust someone like me? Black, poor, invisible. He winced, the truth of his bias cutting deep. He pulled up the mansion's internal cameras, rewinding to last week. There in the grainy feed, a figure lingered at the gate, a man, face obscured, watching as Ethan's school van arrived. Alexander's stomach churned. This wasn't a coincidence. Someone was hunting his son. He grabbed his phone, dialing security. Bring Lena to my study, now. The guard's acknowledgement was curt, but Alexander barely heard it. His mind raced, piecing together fragments. The email, the photo, the tracker. Lena had acted while he'd been blind. But could he trust her? He thought of Ethan's tearful plea. She's like Mom. The boy's trust was unshakable, a beacon in Alexander's fog of suspicion. The door opened, and Lena stepped in, her posture rigid, eyes wary. The guards hovered behind her. Dismiss them, she said, her voice low but firm. If you want the truth, We talk alone." Alexander hesitated, then waved the guards out. The door shut with a heavy thud. He held up the letter, his voice tight. "You left this. Why didn't you tell me about the man at the school?" Lena's gaze didn't waver. "Would you have listened? To a maid? You barely know my name." He flinched, her words a mirror to his shame. "I'm listening now. Explain." She took a breath, her hands unclenching. "I was a nurse, Mr. Harrington. 5 years ago, I worked for a family like yours. Their daughter was kidnapped, ransom gone wrong. I saw the signs here. Strange cars, that email in your trash. I couldn't wait for you to notice. Ethan's too precious." Her voice cracked on Ethan's name, and Alexander's chest tightened. He saw it now. Her fear wasn't for herself, but for his son. "The tracker," he said softer. "You put it there to protect him?" "Yes." She met his eyes, unflinching. "I'd do it again, even if it cost me everything." Silence hung between them, heavy with unspoken truths. Alexander's mind churned. The email, the footage, her letter. They aligned, a puzzle snapping into place. But trust was a leap he wasn't ready for. Not yet. "I'm not calling the police," he said finally. "But you're not off the hook. We'll figure this out together. For Ethan. Can I trust you, Lena?" Her lips curved into a faint, weary smile. "That's up to you, Mr. Harrington. But I've been watching out for him longer than you have." The words cut, but he let them. He gestured to a chair. "Sit. We're checking every camera, every email. If you're lying, I'll know." She nodded, sitting with quiet dignity. The tracker sat on his desk, its light dim now, a symbol of her gamble. Outside, the ocean whispered, but inside, a fragile alliance was born, one built on necessity, not trust. Not yet. The study's air was thick with the hum of Alexander's laptop, its screen casting a pale glow across his face. Lena sat across from him, her posture straight, but her eyes heavy with the weight of the night. The ocean beyond the mansion's windows churned, a restless murmur that matched the tension between them. Alexander's fingers hovered over the keyboard, pulling up encrypted emails from his company's server. Lena's letter lay on the desk, its folded edges a silent testament to her gamble. He glanced at her, his voice low. "You said you heard something. When?" Lena leaned forward, her hands clasped. "Last Tuesday while dusting your office. A call came through your spare phone, the one you keep in the drawer. I didn't mean to listen, but the voice was angry. Said something about making you pay, and the kid's the key. I knew it wasn't right." Alexander's jaw tightened. That phone was for emergencies, rarely used. He opened the drawer, retrieving the sleek device. No recent calls logged, but Lena's words rang true. He met her gaze. "Why not tell me then?" Her lips pressed thin, a flash of defiance in her eyes. "Would you have believed me, or would you have seen a maid overstepping her place?" The truth stung, sharp and undeniable. He'd barely acknowledged her existence beyond curt orders. Black, poor, invisible. She'd nailed his prejudice. He pushed the thought aside, focusing on the screen. "Show me where you found the email." Lena pointed to the trash folder, her fingers steady. "It was printed, crumpled in your bin. I only saw it because I was emptying it." He scrolled, finding the email dated August 3rd. "Harrington's boy is the key. 1 million or he's gone." The sender's address was a string of nonsense, likely a burner. Alexander's pulse quickened. "This is Victor Kane," he said, more to himself than her. "He was my partner, until I caught him siphoning funds. I fired him 2 years ago. He swore he'd ruin me." Lena's brow furrowed. "Ruin you how? By hurting Ethan?" Alexander's hands clenched, the memory of Victor's venomous exit meeting surfacing. "He's capable. His ego's bigger than his bank account." He opened the tracker app on his phone, its map showing Ethan's backpack upstairs, safe for now. Lena's voice softened. "I put the tracker there because I saw that man at Ethan's school. I couldn't risk waiting for you to notice. Ethan, he's like my own." The confession caught him off guard. He studied her, the sincerity in her eyes clashing with his lingering doubt. "You were a nurse," he said, recalling her letter. "Why give that up for this?" He gestured vaguely at the mansion. Her gaze dropped, a shadow crossing her face. "My mom got sick. Cancer. I quit nursing to care for her and drained my savings. After she passed, I needed work. This job, she paused, her voice steadying. It's not who I am, but Ethan, he's why I stay. Alexander's chest tightened. He thought of his wife, Claire, her laugh echoing in this house before the accident. Lena's devotion to Ethan mirrored that warmth, a truth he couldn't ignore. You're not what I expected, he admitted, the words heavy. But I need to know everything. She nodded, leaning closer. I saw the man again yesterday, near the gate. I checked the tracker app. It's basic, but it works. If Ethan's ever taken, we'd know where he is. He opened the app, its interface crude but functional. A green dot pulsed. Ethan's room. You bought this yourself? With my own money, she said, unflinching. I'd do more if I could. The admission shifted something in him. He stood, pacing to the window. The ocean glittered under moonlight, deceptive in its calm. We need to trace Victor. I can access his old company emails. There might be a lead. Lena's eyes lit with purpose. I'll help. I've seen how he moves. Sneaky, always watching. We can use the tracker to track him. Alexander raised an eyebrow. You're not just a nurse, are you? A faint smile broke her tension. I'm a quick learner, and I don't give up. He nodded, a grudging respect forming. Then we're partners. For Ethan. But if you're hiding anything, Lena, I'll find out. Her smile faded, but her gaze held firm. I've got nothing to hide. Just check those emails. Victor's not working alone. He sat back down, pulling up Victor's old account. A string of messages loaded, cryptic, but one caught his eye. Meet at the pier, 8 p.m. The kid's schedule is set, sent 2 days ago. Alexander's blood ran cold. He showed Lena, whose face hardened. He's planning something soon, she said. We need to be ready. Alexander's phone buzzed, a security alert. A sensor at the back gate had tripped. He switched to the camera feed. A shadow moved, too quick to identify. He's here, he whispered. Lena stood, her voice urgent. Check Ethan. I'll watch the screens. He hesitated, then handed her the laptop. Don't touch anything else. He grabbed the tracker, its light steady, and headed for Ethan's room. The mansion's silence felt alive now, every creak a threat. Lena's words echoed, Victor's not working alone. As he climbed the stairs, Alexander realized he wasn't just fighting for Ethan. He was fighting to trust again. The Malibu sun hung low, painting the park with golden streaks as children's laughter echoed across the grass. Ethan darted after a butterfly, his sneakers kicking up dust, while Lena Thompson lingered nearby, her eyes scanning the crowd. Her heart thumped, the tracker app open on her phone, its green dot pulsing with Ethan's location. Alexander had agreed to this outing, a test he'd called it, his voice still edged with suspicion. She felt his gaze even now, miles away, watching through the app. Trust was a fragile thread between them, stretched thin. Lena adjusted her scarf, her nurse's instincts on high alert. The park felt too exposed. Families, joggers, but also shadows that didn't belong. She'd seen the man before, the one in the gray hoodie, his phone raised like a hunter sighting prey. Today, she'd be ready. Ethan's giggle pulled her back. Lena, look, it's got spots. He pointed at the butterfly, oblivious to her tension. Stay close, little man, she said, her smile tight. Her phone buzzed. Alexander checking in. Anything? The text read. She typed back. All clear, for now. But her gut churned. Victor Kane's email, the one she'd found crumpled in Alexander's trash, loomed in her mind. The boy's the key. She'd faced danger before, hospital crises, her mother's illness. But this was different. Ethan was her responsibility, her heart. A man approached, his black jacket out of place in the warm afternoon. Sunglasses hid his eyes, but his stride was deliberate, homing in on Ethan, who'd wandered to a sandbox. Lena's breath caught. She recognized the build, Victor's lackey, the same one from the school photos. Ethan, she called, her voice sharp. The boy looked up, puzzled as the man closed in, his hand slipping into his pocket. Hey, kid, the man said, voice oily. Your dad sent me. Let's go for a ride. He reached for Ethan's arm. Lena was already moving, her phone pinging Alexander with the tracker's alert. Ethan, come here. She stepped between them, her heart pounding. He's not going anywhere. The man smirked, his hand still outstretched. Relax, lady. Just doing my job. Your job? Lena's voice rose, drawing eyes from nearby parents. She lowered it, leaning close. I know who you work for. Back off or I scream. Her nurse's training kicked in. She scanned his posture, noting the bulge under his jacket. No gun, she hoped, but a threat all the same. Ethan clung to her leg, trembling. Lena, who's he? Nobody, sweetie, she said, eyes locked on the man. She improvised, her voice loud for the crowd. This boy's asthmatic. He needs his inhaler. Now. The lie bought time. A mother nearby frowned, stepping closer. The man hesitated, glancing at the gathering onlookers. Lena seized the moment, grabbing Ethan and backing away. Her phone vibrated. Alexander, en route. Stay with me, she whispered, pulling Ethan toward the parking lot. The man followed, his pace quickening. Lena's mind raced. She swung her bag, heavy with a water bottle catching his knee. He stumbled, cursing, as she and Ethan broke into a run. Lena! Ethan's voice cracked, his small hand gripping hers. She glanced at her phone. The tracker's signal was strong, broadcasting their location. Headlights flashed ahead. Alexander's black SUV screeched into the lot. He leapt out, his face pale, eyes wild. Where is he? Alexander demanded, scanning the park. Lena pointed as the man vanished into a crowd, his jacket a fleeting shadow. He tried to take Ethan. I sent you the alert. Alexander knelt, pulling Ethan into a fierce hug. You okay, buddy? Ethan nodded, tears welling. Alexander's gaze shifted to Lena, his voice rough. You stopped him. Barely, she said, her breath ragged. He's one of Victor's. I recognized him. Alexander stood, his hand on Ethan's shoulder, but his eyes on Lena. You put yourself in danger. For my son. It's what I do, she said, meeting his stare. You'd have done the same. He didn't reply, but something shifted in his expression. Gratitude, maybe, or guilt. The crowd dispersed, a police siren wailing in the distance. Alexander waved them off. They had no proof, not yet. We're going home, he said. All of us. In the SUV, Ethan curled against Lena, his robot toy clutched tight. You're a superhero, he mumbled, half asleep. Lena's throat tightened, her hand brushing his hair. Alexander watched through the rearview mirror, his knuckles white on the wheel. You were right, he said finally, his voice low. I should have listened sooner. Lena shook her head. You're listening now. That's enough. The mansion loomed as they pulled in, its glass walls reflecting the dusk. Alexander carried Ethan inside, his steps heavy. Lena followed, her arm bruised from the struggle. The tracker had saved them today, but Victor was still out there, his plan thwarted but not broken. Alexander set Ethan down in his room, then turned to Lena. We need more than a tracker. Victor's coming for us. Then we fight back, she said, her voice steel. Together. He nodded, a flicker of respect in his eyes. The alliance was real now, forged in danger. But as they stepped into the hallway, the security system beeped. A sensor at the gate tripped again. The night wasn't over. The mansion's security room buzzed with the low hum of monitors, their screens bathing Alexander Harrington and Lena Thompson in cold light. Ethan was tucked safely in bed, his robot toy clutched tight, but the air crackled with unease. The latest sensor alert, another shadow at the gate, had set Alexander's nerves on edge. He stood over the control panel, replaying footage. A figure hooded, slipping beyond the camera's reach. Lena sat nearby, her bruised arm hidden under her sleeve, her eyes fixed on the screens. The tracker app glowed on her phone, Ethan's signal steady upstairs. They were safe for now, but Victor Kane was closing in. Alexander slammed a fist on the desk, the sound sharp. He's taunting us. That bastard knows we're watching. Lena's voice was calm, measured. He's not just taunting, he's testing us, seeing how far he can push before we break. He turned, her words cutting through his anger. She wasn't just a maid, not anymore. Her sharp insight, her courage at the park, they demanded respect he'd been too stubborn to give. You've seen this before? He said, not a question. How? Her gaze dropped, a flicker of pain crossing her face. 5 years ago, when I was a nurse, a patient's kid was taken. Ransom gone wrong. I saw the signs. Strange cars, whispered calls. I see them again now. She met his eyes, unflinching. Victor's not alone. He's got help. Someone who knows your life, your schedule. Alexander's stomach twisted. He pulled up Victor's old company emails, his fingers flying across the keyboard. A message from 2 days ago caught his eye. Peer meeting 8 p.m. Kid's route confirmed. He showed Lena, whose face hardened. That's how they knew Ethan would be at the park, she said. Someone's feeding them information. Who? Alexander's voice was raw. He thought of his staff, his board. Betrayal was an old wound. His wife's accident, ruled a crash but never fully explained, loomed in his memory. Victor was my partner. I trusted him once. He stole millions, then swore he'd destroy me when I fired him. Lena leaned closer, studying the email. He's not just after money. This is personal. He wants you to suffer. Her words hit too close. Alexander stood pacing. Claire, my wife, her car went off a cliff 3 years ago. The police called it an accident, but I never believed it. Victor was in Europe then, or so I thought. His voice cracked, the admission raw. I failed her. I won't fail Ethan. Lena's hand twitched as if to reach for him, but she stopped. You're not failing him. You're fighting. That's why I'm here too. Her voice softened. I lost my mom to cancer. I gave up nursing to care for her. Every cent I had. I know what it's like to fight for someone you love. The confession hung between them, a bridge over the chasm of mistrust. Alexander stopped pacing, his eyes locking on hers. You're not what I thought, Lena. I was wrong. About a lot. Her lips curved into a faint, weary smile. Wrong about me being a maid? Or a black woman? Both? He winced, her honesty ablaze. Both. And I'm sorry. She nodded, accepting, but not absolving. We don't have time for apologies. Victor's planning his next move. We need to be smarter. Alexander sat, his mind racing. The tracker saved Ethan today. Can we use it to bait Victor? Make him think he's got a shot? Lena's eyes lit up. A decoy. Put a fake tracker on Ethan's backpack. Let Victor's men follow it. We control the location, set a trap. He nodded, impressed. You're good at this. I've had to be, she said, her voice edged with steel. Growing up, I learned to watch my back. You don't survive otherwise. Their eyes met, a spark of something new. Partnership, maybe more. Alexander pushed it aside, focusing on the plan. We'll need security, police on standby. I'll leak a fake schedule. Ethan at the pier tomorrow night. Lena tapped her phone, checking the tracker. I'll monitor this. If Victor's watching, he'll bite. A sudden buzz interrupted them. Alexander's phone. An unknown number. A voice message. He played it. Victor's voice slithering through. You're out of time, Harrington. Pay up, or your boy's gone by dawn. The line went dead. Alexander's blood ran cold. He glanced at Lena, who was already standing, her face set. He's desperate, she said. That's good. Desperate people make mistakes. We need to check Ethan, Alexander said, grabbing his phone. They moved together, their steps synchronized up the stairs to Ethan's room. The boy slept, his chest rising softly, unaware of the storm circling him. Lena brushed a curl from his forehead, her touch gentle. He calls you his superhero, Alexander said quietly, watching her. He's not wrong. Lena's smile was brief, tinged with sadness. He's worth it. You both are. They stepped into the hall, the mansion's silence heavy. Alexander's phone pinged. A new email, another threat. Tomorrow pier, alone. Lena's hand grazed his arm, a fleeting anchor. We'll be ready, she said. Victor doesn't know what's coming. Alexander nodded, his resolve hardening. The fight was theirs now, bound by a shared purpose. But as they returned to the security room, the shadows outside seemed to shift, watching, waiting. The Malibu mansion was a fortress of glass and steel, but tonight its walls felt paper thin. Moonlight sliced through the windows, casting jagged shadows across the security room, where Alexander Harrington and Lena Thompson stood, their eyes locked on the monitors. The tracker's green dot pulsed on Lena's phone. Ethan's decoy backpack, planted in his room as bait. The real Ethan slept in a hidden safe room, guarded by a trusted security detail. Victor Kane's latest threat, tomorrow pier. alone, had forced their hand. They'd leaked a fake schedule, luring him here instead. Now they waited. Alexander's jaw was tight, his fingers gripping the edge of the console. "He's coming tonight," he said, voice low. "I can feel it." Lena nodded, her bruised arm aching under her sleeve. "He's desperate." That voicemail was sloppy. Too cocky. "We've got the upper hand." Her nurse's calm steadied her, but her heart raced. She'd faced danger before, but never like this. Never for a child she'd grown to love. The security system beeped, a sensor at the back gate. Alexander switched cameras, catching a flicker of movement. Two figures, hooded, cutting through the fence with bolt cutters. "That's him," he whispered, zooming in. Victor's sharp features were unmistakable, his smirk caught in grainy black and white. A second man, broader, carried a duffel bag. Tools, or worse. Lena's voice was steel. "Stick to the plan. Let them get to the decoy." Alexander activated the silent alarm, texting the police a prearranged code. His hand hovered over the panic button, but he held off. They needed Victor inside, caught red-handed. He glanced at Lena, her eyes fierce, unyielding. "You sure about this?" "I've never been sure," she said. "For Ethan." They moved to the hallway, dimming the lights to shadows. Alexander clutched a taser from the security kit, his other hand on his phone, tracking the intruder's path. Lena grabbed a fire extinguisher from the wall, her improvised weapon. Her nurse's instincts mapped Victor's likely moves. Bold, but not reckless. He'd go for Ethan's room first. Footsteps echoed below, faint but deliberate. A glass pane rattled. Victor's team breaching the patio. Alexander's pulse thundered, memories of Claire's accident flashing. Screeching tires, a cliff's edge. He wouldn't lose Ethan, too. Lena's hand grazed his arm, grounding him. "We've got this," she whispered. They crept upstairs, positioning themselves near Ethan's door. The decoy backpack sat on the bed, its tracker blinking. A creak on the stairs froze them. Victor's voice slithered through the dark. "Harrington's done. Grab the kid, we're out in 5. Lena tightened her grip on the extinguisher, her breath shallow. Alexander signaled her to wait. The door creaked open, and Victor stepped in, his silhouette lean and predatory. His accomplice followed, scanning the room. "Where's the brat?" the second man growled, spotting the backpack. "Now!" Alexander hissed. Lena swung the extinguisher, spraying foam into the accomplice's face. He stumbled, cursing, as Alexander lunged at Victor, taser crackling. Victor dodged faster than expected and grabbed Lena's arm, twisting it. She gasped, pain shooting through her bruise, but her training kicked in. She drove her elbow into his ribs, aiming for a pressure point she'd learned as a nurse. Victor grunted, loosening his grip. "You're dead, Harrington," he snarled, pulling a knife. Alexander tackled him, the taser sparking uselessly as they hit the floor. Lena grabbed the accomplice's leg, yanking him down before he could join. She sprayed more foam, blinding him, then slammed the extinguisher into his knee. He howled, collapsing. Alexander wrestled Victor, pinning his arm. The knife skittered across the floor. "You're done," Alexander growled, his knee on Victor's chest. "You'll never touch my son." Lena scrambled to her feet, her arm bleeding from a shallow cut. She grabbed the knife, holding it steady despite the pain. "Stay down," she warned the accomplice, who groaned, disoriented. Sirens wailed outside, red and blue lights flashing through the windows. The police burst in, weapons drawn. "Freeze!" an officer shouted. Victor struggled, but Alexander held firm until cuffs snapped on. The accomplice was dragged up, still coughing up foam. Lena sank against the wall, her breath ragged. Alexander stood, his face bruised but triumphant. He looked at her, his voice raw. "You saved us. Again." She managed a weak smile, clutching her arm. "Told you we'd get him." The police hauled Victor out, his curses fading. Alexander checked the safe room. Ethan was safe, sleeping through it all. Lena followed, her nurse's instincts urging her to clean her wound. She grabbed a first aid kit, dabbing antiseptic with steady hands. Alexander watched, his expression unreadable. "You're hurt," he said, stepping closer. "Let me." She hesitated, then handed him the gauze. His touch was gentle, surprising her. "I was wrong about you," he said quietly. "I owe you everything." Her eyes met his, the weight of the night settling. Just keep Ethan safe. That's enough. The mansion fell silent, the storm over. But as they bandaged her wound, a new bond formed, one forged in fire, ready for whatever came next. Morning light poured through the Malibu mansion's glass walls, softening the edges of a night that had nearly broken them. The air was clean, the ocean's whisper a gentle hum beyond the windows. Alexander Harrington stood in the kitchen, pouring coffee, his hands still trembling from the adrenaline of Victor's capture. The police had left hours ago, carting Victor Kane and his accomplice to jail, their phones and emails seized as evidence. Ethan slept upstairs, safe, unaware of the chaos that had unfolded. Lena Thompson sat at the counter, her arm bandaged, her face weary but calm. The tracker, now useless, lay on the table, a relic of their victory. Alexander slid a mug toward her, his voice low. "You didn't have to do what you did. You could have walked away." Lena's fingers curled around the mug, her eyes meeting his. "Walk away from Ethan? Never." Her voice was steady, but the weight of the night lingered in her gaze. "I've lost too much to let that boy lose you." He nodded, the truth settling deep. He'd misjudged her, seen only a maid, a black woman, a shadow in his house. Now she was more, a protector, a partner, a force he hadn't expected. "I was wrong," he said, the words heavy. "About you, about everything." She tilted her head, a faint smile breaking through. "Wrong about my job or my skin?" "Both," he admitted, his voice raw. "I let prejudice blind me. You're more than I deserve in this house." Her smile faded, replaced by quiet resolve. "I don't need your guilt, Mr. Harrington. I need you to see me, really see me." "I do," he said and meant it. He saw her now, the nurse who'd sacrificed her career for her mother, the woman who'd risked everything for his son. He thought of Claire, her warmth once filling this house. Lena carried that same light, and Ethan had seen it first. Footsteps pattered down the stairs. Ethan burst in, his hair mussed, clutching a crumpled drawing. "Lena!" he cried, throwing his arms around her. "You're okay." His eyes, bright with relief, landed on the bandage. "Did the bad guys hurt you?" "Just a scratch, little man," she said, ruffling his hair. "Your dad and I took care of them." Ethan beamed, holding up his drawing, a crayon sketch of Lena in a cape, labeled superhero. Alexander's throat tightened. "That's for you," Ethan said, thrusting it into her hands. "You're like Mom, but with cooler powers." Lena's eyes glistened, but she laughed, pulling him close. "You're my hero, kiddo." She glanced at Alexander, a silent question in her gaze. He cleared his throat, kneeling to Ethan's level. "Buddy, Lena's not just our friend. She's family now. How's that sound?" Ethan's face lit up. "Like a superhero family?" "Exactly," Alexander said, his voice catching. He stood facing Lena. "I don't want you as a maid anymore. You're Ethan's guardian if you'll take it. Full salary, benefits, whatever you need to start over." Lena's breath hitched, her hand tightening on the drawing. "You mean it? I owe you my son's life," he said. "And I want you to finish what you started. Nursing school, whatever it takes. I'll cover it." She blinked, tears threatening but held back. "I've dreamed of going back, but I never thought—" She trailed off, then nodded. "Okay. For Ethan, and for me." Alexander smiled, a rare warmth spreading through him. "There's more. I've been thinking about Claire's foundation, helping women in tough spots. You could lead it, Lena. Start something for people like you, who fought and lost but keep going." Her eyes widened, a spark igniting. "A center for women, black women, poor women, anyone who needs a chance. I'd make it real." "I know you will," he said, his voice steady. "We'll build it together." Ethan tugged Lena's sleeve. "Can we eat breakfast now? Superheroes need pancakes." They laughed, the sound breaking the last of the night's tension. Alexander fired up the stove, flipping pancakes while Ethan chattered about his drawing. Lena joined in, her voice lighter, her bandage a badge of courage. The kitchen filled with warmth, the mansion no longer a mausoleum, but a home. As they ate, sunlight glinted off the pool outside, its surface calm, reflecting their new beginning. Alexander caught Lena's eye, a flicker of something deeper passing between them. Not romance, not yet, but a promise of possibility. "What's next for us?" he asked, half to himself. Lena set down her fork, her smile soft but fierce. "We keep fighting. For Ethan, for each other. No one's alone anymore." He nodded, the weight of his old life lifting. The tracker, the threats, the shadows, they'd forged something unbreakable. Outside, the ocean stretched endlessly, but inside they were anchored. A family chosen not by blood but by trust, ready for whatever came next. In the wake of danger, Alexander, Lena, and Ethan forged a bond stronger than blood, built on trust and courage. The Malibu mansion, once a cold fortress, now echoed with laughter and hope. Lena's heroism shattered prejudice, proving that kindness transcends class and race. As they planned a future, Ethan's joy, Lena's dreams, Alexander's redemption, the ocean whispered of new beginnings. Their story reminds us, true family is chosen, not born, and even in darkness, light can prevail.